So in the previous video on this channel, I explained the FPV drone concept, what FPV drones are, where exactly they're used, and how they're used in the filmmaking and the racing industry. But today with me, I have here the Makeblock, Airblock, modular and programmable drone hexacopter. Not an FPV drone, not a regular cinematography drone, but a programmable robotic kit, which is in the form of a drone. And we're going to talk about this in today's video. So the Makeblock Airblock drone has been out there for just about 4 years in the entire market. I've been using this drone for about 1.5 years to 2 years. And over that time, I've been using this drone quite regularly for different purposes. And I have my thoughts summarized in this video. So this drone is unlike any other regular or FPV drone out there. It's mainly meant for programmability and modularity, which means that using your own imagination and creativity, you can make this drone and turn it into whatever you want. I'll explain. So this drone is unlike any other drone, which has fixed propellers or fixed motors. It's basically a drone where you can remove the propellers from each other using magnets, and you can attach them back just by bringing them close to the drone's main core. It's got 6 propellers, which means it's called a hexacopter. 3 propellers rotate in one particular direction and the other 3 rotate in the opposite direction to balance the angular momentum. The 6 propellers work together to lift the drone off the Earth's surface, but this particular drone using non-brushless DC motors makes quite a lot of sound and generates fairly less power. That being said, its main goal is not for cinematography or for racing. It's mainly meant for educational purposes and creativity. You see, Makeblock, the maker of this drone and this robotic kit, has made several other robotic kits apart from this model. They've made the Ultimate 2.0, which I've made another video previously on this channel, and I'll link that in the description below. Or of course, you can click on this card on the top right corner. But this drone is very different from every other programmable kit that they have made themselves. So the entire body of the drone is made out of styrofoam and plastic. Styrofoam is used to make it light in weight, but also highly durable and low cost. So this drone is basically designed to be below 250 grams. And what that means is that in most countries, if you're flying a quadcopter or a hexacopter or any flying object which weighs below 250 grams, you don't really need a license or a registration by your aviation authority. So here in India, if I'm flying this drone, which is below 250 grams, the DGCA or the Director General of Civil Aviation says that I don't really need a license or registered ID to fly this drone. So this drone, now that I've spoken about its modularity and everything else, let's come to the battery and the power of the drone. So this, unlike any other FPV drone or a regular drone, is powered by a lithium-ion battery as opposed to a lithium polymer battery. These batteries are much more long-lasting but generate lesser power. So they're not really robust and they can't give the drone enough power that you really want from it. That being said, of course, the DC motors which are connected to the drone via the magnetic cables is not really generating enough power. It's just generating a lot of noise, making it uncomfortable to be around it for quite a while. And yeah, a lot of people do get annoyed when they're around it. Now let's come to the best part of the drone, which is the propeller guards. This kind of drone, traditionally in the FPV drone space and in the drone world, is called a cine-whoop drone, which means it's a drone that is called propeller ducts, or in layman's terms, propeller guards. These are basically guards, in this case made out of styrofoam and plastic, to protect people who are around the drone and the drone itself from any damage or injuries. So if you're just a beginner and just getting into the drone space and you're flying the drone for the first time, the chances are that you are going to crash into obstacles and people. So to prevent injuries to people and damage to the drone, these propeller guards are installed for safety purposes alone. Of course, it doesn't add to any additional weight because the total weight of the drone is below 250 grams, and I already mentioned that in the video before. Now let's come to the 2 other modes that you can use with the Airblock. That includes the hovercraft land mode and the hovercraft water mode. So the kit that you buy, which includes this drone, also includes a pair of stickers which I've mounted on this drone and a hovercraft base. The hovercraft base is also made out of the same material, styrofoam, and is modeled in a very, very beautiful way. It's also extremely light in weight and therefore cannot be used during very windy conditions because the wind is going to carry it away, of course. So the hovercraft is designed to move on smooth land such as tiles or granite, but it can't really move on rough surfaces like sand or cement or anything of that sort. When it comes to water, it uses a different mode, but the same physics principle. However, they suggest not to use this in rough water or rough seas because it's a hovercraft, and in case it topples and falls into the water, there's no way it can regain its original position. It doesn't use the forces of buoyancy. It's basically trying to lift above the surface of the water by a very small amount and supposed to move in front. So the best kind of water that you could use is probably something close to a swimming pool or a still lake. That's the best kind that you can use. But I do recommend using it in a swimming pool alone so that it's easier to get it back, because the transmission system in this drone is very, very unreliable. And I'll tell you why. I've flown this drone for the last 1 year to 1.5 years constantly in different areas and in different environments, including the urban part of my city and the rural part of my city. So when I was flying this drone, I realized that when you fly to slightly higher altitudes, just about 50 feet, this drone can lose connection and suddenly fall out of the sky. Now the advantage is that because it's a modular drone and made out of styrofoam and the propellers are attached through magnets, if the drone falls off the sky, the propellers won't really get damaged, and the impact which is created basically makes the propellers come off the core of the drone. And that shouldn't be a problem because all you got to do is to snap them on and the magnets automatically attach and the drone is back in its original shape. So you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Although if you are using it very regularly, sometimes it can become a problem and the bottom plates of the drone and the motor can get damaged quite badly. And that's happened to me many times, but with the spare parts which are included in the kit, such as the spare propellers and spare rubber bottoms for the propellers itself, none of this should be a problem for you. Now let's come to some of the modularity features of this drone. You see, because this is magnetically connected to the core of the drone, you could change the orientation of the propellers as long as you want. So for example, if I have the propellers lined up like this, I can pull this off and attach it the different way. The magnet here, or the magnetic ports, have a plus sign, which means that you could change the angle of the propellers by 90 degrees every turn. And that's great because the hovercraft uses that basic mode to move in front and to move backwards. The modularity feature basically includes the use of Lego bricks and other creative ideas that you have as the builder. So for example, if I'm making a Lego project where I want to use these propellers and make something move, I can of course introduce these Lego bricks and use my own creativity and imagination and use this drone in that project. It's very hard to give examples, but if you really try to use your own imagination, you will understand what I'm trying to say. That being said, let's talk about how you can control this drone. Controlling this drone, the Makeblock Airblock, happens through the Makeblock application. And this is a very well made application available both on Android as well as iOS. However, what I decided when I bought this drone was to buy the Makeblock controller. The Makeblock controller is just another white color controller, more like a gaming controller that you could purchase separately from their website or any other e-commerce platform like Amazon, for example. And you can connect the controller with this drone or any other robotic kit that Makeblock makes and use that to control the drone itself. Now, to connect the controller to the drone, you need to program it. And that brings us to the next stage, which is programming the drone. So Makeblock, for a lot of their robotic kits out there, have been in collaboration with MIT Scratch. Scratch is a software developed by researchers at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and it's a platform where learners and professionals can program different robots and pretty much anything that you want, right from dragging, dropping blocks in the mobile application of Scratch or programming with Python programming language on your computer. You can make this drone do whatever you want if you know how to program it. Personally, I'm still learning how to do that and I've not mastered it yet, but this tool is definitely the best one that you could buy to learn how to program, use your own imagination and creativity. That being said, we've come to the end of the video, the entire review of the Makeblock Airblock modular and programmable drone. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys very soon.